Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bailey, and today I'm going to be talking about how I overcame my shopping addiction and kind of how it started. So, from a young age, I want to say like preteen, I loved shopping. That was one of my favorite hobbies. I would do with my friends, I would do with my family, just um, going to the mall and looking at stuff, finding stuff. Um, or Dean's when they had the little mystery bags. That was like one of my favorite things to do was just go and get a mystery bag. But at that age, was restricted because I didn't have a job. So it was pretty much just my allowance that I wanted to spend. And because it was limited, there's only a certain amount that I had. So I couldn't spend, um, I had to be very mindful about what I wanted to spend my money on. So when I got to be a teenager and then I got my own job, that was kind of when I guess my shopping addiction took over because I was making my own money. Um, and I was living with my parents at the time and I wasn't paying rent. So all my money that I was making was basically my own money. And I think it feels like it started slowly, but it could have always been there. And it was always just, I'm bored, let's go shopping. And you go shopping and spending money that you don't really need to spend money on things and not thinking through purchases and just buying things just because, buying things because they were trendy, buying things because your friends had them, buying things because I just felt empty and I was trying to fill a hole in myself by buying things. And that was kind of the only way I knew how to do that. So it turned into any time I felt uncomfortable, I would turn to shopping. Thankfully at the time I didn't have a credit card, so I only really had my debit and I only really had the money that I was making to spend. Um, and I didn't have a credit card, so I couldn't be using my credit to buy things. It was only the money that I had, but a lot of it was just spent on things that I really didn't need. And um, looking back, obviously hindsight is 2020. I feel regretful for how I spent my money on certain things, but I learned my lesson now, and this is how we got here. So, anyways, I didn't get my first credit card till I was about 20, and at that time, I want to say that my shopping addiction wasn't as bad as when I was a teenager or like early adulthood. Thankfully, because I didn't end up having to pay off a bunch of debt or anything. So, got my first credit card, and it was kind of at that point I started to get really serious or try to get serious about money and do a bit of research about how money works and then also about marketing and how companies market to us to sell us things. And it's one of those things that once you learn it, you can't unsee it. You just see it everywhere. And so once I learned that, it was hard for me to just kind of just spend my money just because I would see the way companies would market things to you, things that you don't really need, but they make you feel like you need it to fix a specific problem in your life that isn't really a problem, but they make it seem like a big enough problem that you have to buy this thing to fix it. And then I just thought that I thought the whole thing was so silly. And then I was like, why why am I wasting my money on things that I don't need? And I think also once you start to like you start getting a full-time job and you start working for your money, you then or at least I did, start thinking about money in terms of time. So this item costs this much, which means it costs me this amount of hours to work to pay for it. And when you look at it that way, it's really hard to just kind of spend money just because it's um, you have to think about you spend the money that you worked that you use your time to work for, and then you don't have the money anymore, so now you have to work again to get that money again, and it just doesn't seem worth it. A lot of things start to not feel worth it, or at least to me. So when it got to that point for me, it was really easy for me just to not spend my money. I'm also the type of person that doesn't like clutter in the house, so I if I thought about buying an item, I would try to think about what is like the reason behind me wanting this item. Is it to fix a specific problem? Is it just to buy something? Is it going to improve my life at all? Do I actually want this item? And once I kind of went through that thought process with myself, oh, sorry, it made me not spending money a lot easier. Um, I also started to think about my future. I started to think about how I wanted to live when I got older, how I don't want to work till I'm 60, 70. One of my goals actually is to retire early. And so that really helps me to be more intentional about where I'm putting my money because I don't want to be working for the rest of my life. And a lot of things just don't seem worth it anymore. One of the other things that I did was I think through purchases now, which it seems simple and straightforward, but you don't realize how much you aren't doing it until you start doing it. So what I mean by that is if I feel like I want to buy something, I try not to buy it right away unless I absolutely need to, and most of the time I don't need to. So I think about an item and I'm like, okay, I want this specific item. I then will write it down or I'll just have it in my head as like a wish list item. And I don't really give myself a specific time period. It's just I have this item in my head. I kind of like think on it for at least a couple days. I at least give myself a few days to think through it and to see, do I still want this item? Is this still something that I want to get? Or was it just a fleeting moment because I saw it on social media or I saw someone else had it and I feel like getting that item will that make me look a certain way or act a certain way. Um, so doing that really helped because then it helped me think through my purchases and a lot of my a huge part of my shopping addiction was impulse shopping as well. So that really helped me. Um, so putting on a wish list, waiting a few days. I don't set myself a specific time period to like go back and think about it. But if it's something that I want, and I keep thinking about wanting it, and um, I have the money for it, and it wasn't just a fleeting thing, then I will let myself buy it. I don't um, try to restrict myself completely because I do want to enjoy life. There is certain things that I want to buy and I want to spend my money on, but I try not to let it be something that I instantly just buy just because I saw it somewhere. The other thing too is I'm very passionate about the environment and climate change, and I feel like when you learn about consumerism, learning about its impact on the environment kind of comes hand in hand. And it's one of those things that, again, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Um, I can't remember the specifics of it, but we have so much clothes in the world. And I can't remember how many years, but it's something like the amount of clothes we have in the world can clothe people for like X amount of years. So that to me makes me feel like I don't really need to buy anything, especially clothes, unless I really need to. Um, I have also seen videos of, again, I can't remember where the specifics, but where our unused clothes get dumped, and it's basically, and it's very sad. Um, they're basically like landfills of clothes that no one wanted, um, and they're just dumped in a pile, just sitting in a specific area because no one wanted it, and it's not gonna disintegrate for X amount of years, especially if there's plastic in it. So that to me just kind of made me feel really uncomfortable and made me not want to be a part of that problem. Um, so I try really hard to think through if I need a certain thing, especially clothes because of that. I think that's pretty much it. In general, I try to live pretty minimally. Um, Again, I don't restrict myself completely. I do let myself spend money. I just want to make sure that when I am spending my money, I am thinking it through and I actually want to buy this thing and it's not just an impulse purchase. I really like spending my money on experiences. That is one of the things that I kind of splurge on because I like spending time with my partner and my friends, my family, and things like that, and like doing things together and making memories is really important to me. So that'll kind of be one of the things that I'll spend money on, splurge on. But stuff is just it's just stuff, and um, once you really think of it that way, it it does change things for you, and it makes you realize that there's a lot of things that you don't actually need. So. Anyways, thanks for watching. I would love to hear how you guys, if you've had a shopping addiction, how you overcame that, or if you're currently in the middle of a shopping addiction, how you're working through that. Let me know if this video helped at all. Follow, sorry, subscribe, follow. I'm new to YouTube. I don't know how this all works. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.